So she spread her brown wings for flight and soared into the air. She swept over the garden like a shadow, and like a shadow she sailed through the grove or the meadow. The young student was still lying on the grass where she had left him, and the tears were not yet dry in his beautiful eyes. Be happy, cried the nightingale, be happy. Now the boy can't understand what this nightingale is singing, but the bird is singing, be happy. I'm going to give you a red rose. You shall have your red rose. I will build it out of music by moonlight, and stain it or color it with my own heart's blood. All that I ask of you in return is that you will be a true lover. For love is wiser than philosophy, though she is wise and mightier or stronger than power, though he is mighty or strong. Flame colored like fire, flame are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. His lips are sweet as honey, and his breath is like frankincense. So, something that gives a kind of a nice smell. Now, what is this all about? The nightingale tells the boy, don't worry, don't cry. I'll give you a red rose. And then the nightingale brings out an important idea. I ask of you in written is that you will be a true lover. I'm going to sacrifice my life to get a red rose. You get it and be a faithful, true lover. Why? Because love is wise, better than philosophy. And love, she means love here. Love is wise, intelligent, and it is mightier, very strong. And also, flame colored are his wings, and colored like flame is his body. The boy is also like thinking, red face and all. His lips are sweet as honey. This is a young boy and his breath is like frankincense. The boy is thinking and thinking, very handsome, nice boy, but now sad. The nightingale says, don't worry, don't cry. The student looked up from the grass and listened, but he could not understand what the nightingale was saying to him, for he only knew the things that are written in books. Now there is a problem. The boy is not practical. He knew only the things that books say. So he did not understand what the bird said or said. But the oak tree understood. Oak tree symbolizes wisdom, intelligence, and felt sad for he was very fond of the nightingale who had built a nest in his branches. Sing me one last song, he whispered. I shall feel lonely when you're gone. The oak tree said. He very silently whispered, murmured, and said, please sing a last song, Nightingale. So the nightingale sang the oak tree, and her voice was like water bubbling, right? Or coming up, bubbling and shining from a silver jar. When she had finished the song, the student got up, pulled a notebook and a lead pencil out of his pocket. She has form. Now the boy can't understand what she is singing. The boy thinks I just a bird useless. But nightingale is not useless. She has form, only the bird has a body, he said to himself as he walked away through the grove that cannot be denied or say no to her. But has she got feeling? I'm afraid not. In fact, she is like most artists. She's all style, shows off all style without any sincerity, but she doesn't have any, honesty. She would not sacrifice කවදාකවත් වෙන කෙනෙක් වෙනුවෙන් ජීවිත පරිත්‍යාගයක් කරන එකක් නැහැ. That's very cynical. That's what exactly the bird is doing. She thinks merely or only about music, and everybody knows that arts are selfish. Still, it must be admitted that she has some beautiful notes. She's beautiful, has a beautiful voice. That's it. The boy doesn't understand the values and the service given by the bird. What a pity! It is that they do not mean anything or do any practical good. And he went into his room, lay down on his little pallet bed. What is a pallet bed? A very simple bed. Began to think of his love. And after a time, he fell asleep. So the boy thinks that it is a pity. You know, the bird is so beautiful, has a beautiful voice. That's it. It can't do anything else. But that shows the boy is actually only having theoretical knowledge. He does not have any connection, any understanding about the world, about the nature. Let's go on. And when the moon shone in the heavens, the nightingale flew to the rose tree. Now the night is reaching, night is coming. The bird is going to sacrifice her life to get the red rose and set her breast or her chest against a thorn or the pricky thing. All night long she sang with her breast against a thorn. Hard work. Throughout the night she is singing. And the cold crystal moon, like shining moon, leaned down. Even the moon listened to her. All night long she sang, and the thorn went deeper and deeper into her breast, and she is sacrificing her life. And her blood, life blood, ebbed away or went away from her. What's happening? The bird has decided to sacrifice the life. So she sings while pressing her heart through the thorns of the rose bush, and her blood of the heart goes to the white rose. She sang first of the birth of love. These are the things she sang about how love came in the heart of a boy and a girl. And on the topmost spray of the rose tree, there blossomed a marvelous. Finally, what happened? A beautiful, marvelous, very surprising rose came up, petal following petal, one after the other, and the song continued. First of all, the color of the rose was pale, all white at first, as the mist that hangs over the river, and the color of the rose was what? Mist, all white and pale or white. Silver as the wings of the dawn, like the silver color, not red at all. As the shadow of a rose in a mirror of silver, as the shadow of a rose in a water pool. So was a rose that blossomed on the topmost spray of the tree. Anyway, now the target is realized. A rose is blossomed, but there is a problem and the tree is crying. Nightingale, press closer. Press closer, Nightingale, cried the tree, or the day will come before the rose is finished. Before the rose is blossomed and finished, the nightingale has to pour more blood through her heart to the rose. So you can see throughout the story how the writer brings out fairy tale quality, yet he is trying to criticize the society, people, brings out different qualities of different people, talks about love, etc. Let's read the next section. So the nightingale pressed closer against a thorn. Now she is ever ready to sacrifice her life. So she presses the heart closer to the thorn. And louder and louder, she's in pain. So her song is loud. She sang of the birth of passion. Passion is emotions in the soul of a man and a mate with a young girl. And a delicate flush or a very soft red color, delicate flush of pink came into the leaves of the rose, like the flush of the face of the bridegroom when he kisses the lips of a bride. First of all, what came? Kind of a flush of a pink, right? A very simple pink color came. But the thorn had not yet reached her heart. So the rose's heart remained white. But still, the rose is not completely red, it's white. Only a nightingale's heart's blood can crimson what is crimson, can make it red. And the tree cried to the nightingale to press closer against a thorn. Press closer, little nightingale, cried the tree, or the day will come before the rose is finished. So the nightingale pressed closer against the thorn, and the thorn touched her heart. She's dying now. And a fierce pang, a lot of pain, shot through her. Bitter, harima thithai. Bitter was a pain, and wilder, like she's mad, she's singing. For she sang of the love that is perfected by death. Nightingale is singing about love. Love can sometimes end in death. Of the love that dies not in the tomb. She tells about love that doesn't end in a cemetery, end with death. And the marvelous rose, or the beautiful, surprising rose, became crimson, all red, like the rose of the eastern sky. Crimson was a girdle of petals. Now, what has happened? Girdle means like a belt of petals. Crimson as a ruby, like a red gem, was the heart. Now, what has happened? All done. The flower is blossomed, is red. The target is fulfilled. Right, let's continue the rest. But the nightingale's voice grew fainter. What is fainter? Very slow, not a loud voice, she's dying. And her little wings began to beat, and a film came over her eyes. She's like seeing things now. Fainter and fainter grew her soul, and she felt something choking. She can't breathe in her throat. Then she gave one last burst of music, last song. The white moon heard it, and she forgot the dawn. Even the moon did not go. The moon listened to the song. Morning did not come and lingered, waited in the sky. The red rose heard it, and it trembled Violahitia all over with ecstasy, happiness, and opened its petals to the cold morning air. Echo or a sound bore it to a purple cavern like a cave in the hills. The sound went up to the hills. කොච්චර මේ දෝංකාර දුන්නද කියනවනම් hills දක්වා ඒ sound එක ගියා. And woke the sleeping shepherds from their dreams. It floated or moved through the reeds of the river. What are reeds? They are like bushes. And they carried its message to the sea. The last song of the nightingale was heard everywhere. The moon heard it, dawn didn't even come, and then it went to the hills, it woke up the shepherd, it went to the sea, it was heard over the reeds, in the river, everywhere they heard the song. Look, look, cried the tree. The rose is finished now. But the nightingale made no answer, for she was lying dead in the long grass with a thorn in her heart. Poor nightingale was dead by that time. And at noon, the student opened his window and looked out. Why, what a wonderful piece of luck! Is it luck? Not at all. It was a result of the hard work of the bird. But the boy doesn't know. එයා හිතන්නේ මගේ වාසනාවට මේ මල හම්බුණා කියලා. Here is a red rose. I have never seen any rose like it in all my life. It's so beautiful that I'm sure it has a long Latin name. නමකුත් ඇති ගොඩක් ටික මෙච්චර ලස්සන මලක්. He leaned down and plucked it or picked it. Then he put on his hat and ran to the professor's house with the rose. And දුවලා to give the flower. The daughter of the professor was sitting in the doorway, winding folly and namana blue silk on a reel. It was silk, some cloth material. She was putting it on a reel. Revolving device. Her little dog was lying at her feet. You said that you would dance with me if I brought you a red rose, cried the student. Here is a reddest rose in all the world. බොහොම සතුටින්, very happily, he gives the red rose. You will wear it tonight next to your heart. And as we dance together, it will tell you how I love you. But what's the response of the girl? බලාපොරොත්තු නොවුන දෙයක් සිද්ධ වෙන. An unexpected thing happens. The girl frowned. රවණවා තරහෙන්. I'm afraid it will not go with my dress. No, this is just a simple rose. I don't like it. And besides, a Chamberlain's nephew, a rich boy, has sent me some real jewels. And everybody knows that jewels cost far more than flowers. The girl says, your flower, useless. I have got jewels. From whom? Chamberlain's nephew. Who is Chamberlain? Who is working at the palace. Right? His nephew, I know him. He gave me jewels. The boy got angry. Well, upon my word, you're very ungrateful, very bad. You didn't keep your promise, said the student angrily. And he threw the rose. And I think, but he throws it. In vain, aparade, where it fell into a gutter, it fell to a ditch, and a cartwheel went over it. Poor Nightingale, she sacrificed her life to get it. And the girl refuses it, the boy throws it. Ungrateful? Ungrateful? I'm not ungrateful. I'll tell you what, you are rude, you're the bad one. After all, who are you? Only a student. Why? I don't believe you have even got silver buckles to your shoes. As a Chamberlain's nephew has. Now she compares the poor student with the rich boy. She got up from a chair and went in. The boy is so worried. What a silly thing love is. The boy is heartbroken and walked away. It is not half as useful as logic. Logic is a better subject than thinking about love. For it does not prove anything. Love doesn't prove anything. And it is always telling one of things that are not going to happen and making one believe things that are not true. In fact, it is quite unpractical. The student thinks that love is not practical. Love is not real, unpractical. In this age, to be practical is everything. I shall go back to philosophy and study metaphysics. Metaphysics is a philosophy, darshanaya. So he turned to his room and pulled out a great dusty book and began to read. So what happened? The boy is so sad because the girl refused him and the flower. The girl has got a rich boy and she forgets the poor boy. And this boy, the student, is sad now. So in his sadness, he thinks there is no real love. There is no true love in the world. But there can be, at least, really. right? So anyway, the story tells us about different types of love. The boy has partial love, එක පාර්ශවිකයි, partial love. The girl has very, kind of selfish love, materialistic love. එයාගේ වාසියට ලැබෙන දේවල් අනුව තමයි එයාගේ love එක depend වෙන්නේ. But the nightingale, a true lover who understands the good things about love. So this is a story about love, different types of love. It is a story about the place of love in the material world. ලෞකික දේවල් වලට material things වලට වැඩි අවධානයක් දෙන සමාජයක there is no place for real love. Right? So everywhere people are hypocritic, cunning, selfish, and they give promises and they break promises. And very rarely we find true lovers. So the writer criticizes these things. On the other hand, education, බලන්න මේ student, he can't understand nature. He can't appreciate අගය කරන්න බැහැ nature. He is just a bookish one. පොත මතම යැපෙන්නේ. So the writer criticizes a theoretical education. මිනිස්සුන්ට හිතන්න උගන්නන්න නැතිකම ගැන practical බව නැති බව ගැන එයා criticize කරනවා. So this is a beautiful story where the writer uses fairy tale characters like flowers and birds who are talking to criticize the weaknesses of people, the cunningness of people, the lack of true love of people. මිනිස්සුන්ගේ ආත්මාර්ථකාමී විදිහට ඒගොල්ලෝ ආදරය කරන එක ගැන criticize කරන story එකක්. Right? Okay, so those are the basics of this story.